Well, hello, DirtFish Rally friends. My name is Colin Clark. Joining me for this Rally Estonia preview is my esteemed colleague. Is that the title you wanted, esteemed colleague?
It's one of the things you called me, Colin. Yeah.
David Evans. David Evans, our chief writer.
Yeah, that'll do.
That's a good American way of saying it, isn't it? Chief writer. You're our chief
Job
wordsmith.
titles for you are like kind of rally titles.
I make them up as I go along. Folks, it
What's
is Rally.
this rally called?
Yeah, Rally Estonia. I think that's not, isn't it?
You were there.
Yeah, it's an easier one to remember. I have struggled all year with the names of the rallies. How you can struggle, I've got no idea, but I have. Folks, Rally Estonia this year. Little bit different. It's not quite a year since the last one, David. Different time of year. I think we can expect different things out there in the stages.
Absolutely. We've driven through the stages, quite a few of the stages now, and they are completely different, aren't they? They're not completely different. They're quite different. You know, in terms of the temperature, it was probably 20 degrees warmer.
Probably, yeah.
It is
this is the big thing. So it is, as David said, really, really hot. Around about 33, 34 degrees today. If you remember back to last year, it was low 20s. Now, what surprised a lot of people, Oit Tanak included last year, was the way that the road evolved, the difference from first pass to second pass. I think there's a degree of uncertainty again, David, as to just how, in particular places, because about 40% of this rally is slow, just how that road's going to develop.
But there is no uniform way to how it will develop.
Yeah.
We've just come out of stage 12, was it? And how many surface changes?
Lots.
So many. You know, so where you've got the softer stuff, that will evolve differently to where you've got the slightly bigger stone and the looser stuff on the top. It is.
It's a fascinating rally, isn't it?
It is.
You know, when we came here this time last year, a lot of people
Not
compared
this time
it.
last year.
When we
10
came
months
here
ago.
last year, a lot of people compared it to Finland. But do you know what? It does very much have its own character.
It does. It absolutely does, and that character is a bit of Finland. It's the twisty sections. You know, the new sections on
Stage
Saturday
10, 11,
morning.
10 and 11.
Unbelievable. Really, really tight, twisty, technical, narrow, nadgery, overhanging trees.
Yeah, and it really, you can't compare that to anything. Off the top of my head, I can't think. Parts of Japan were similar to that.
Yeah.
But really narrow, really technical.
Dense vegetation as well. You know, there's no sunlight coming through, so if it was damp, it would be damp under the trees. Clearly, it's not. But the other big issue here this year is they've put more and more anti-cutting devices. So we call them anti-cutting devices. It's essentially a pole.
With a concrete block, block on the bottom of it.
That you're not going to hit.
No.
But the problem is, in some of those stages on Saturday morning we've just been talking about, the vegetation is so dense that you can't quite see the pole. So if you get slightly out of sync with the notes and take a cut, big surprise hanging.
It really is going to be a big surprise. So, in terms of the stages, you know, we've got 3 really good days here, haven't we?
Yeah.
132 kilometres one day, 128 the other, 52 kilometres for the final day. Good, challenging, full days rallying here. You know, it's the uncertainty that really gets me excited. It really does. What can we expect, or what can we say with some degree of certainty, because you're the man that knows, about who will go well here?
Anybody. Absolutely anybody. I think for Friday you have to look at Ogier, Evans, Neville. They're going to struggle. It is so loose, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, we were talking to Marco Martin last night, and he said there's been no real rain here for almost a month.
Oh, he said that months,
no
not
rain.
months, quite months, but weeks and weeks for sure.
At least 3 weeks, and that it takes its toll, doesn't it? So it is very, very slippery. And Marco said in places, you know, the roads will be as bad as Australia, the old Western Australian Perth-based rally.
We saw that today, didn't we?
There's a lot of ball bearings.
A lot of ball bearings,
And so they will. The first 3 cars will struggle, and then you go further back. Tanak is 4th on the road. Yeah, Tanak, Katsuta, and Calais. These are the guys that are going to, for me, and then Craig Breen.
And again, we have to mention Timo Sunonen. Timo Sunonen has the potential. Breen and Sunonen, certainly Sunonen, has the potential to do something really special on Friday. But we said that on the last event.
Yeah, but the difference here, Colin, is that you get the road gets quicker and quicker and quicker, but then you don't get that jeopardy of the rocks being uncovered. You know, somewhere like Portugal, you would dig out, clean the road, but then you dig out those big boulders.
That's absolutely correct.
You don't really get those here, do
you?
So,
no.
you know, the road is just generally getting quicker without the jeopardy of what might be hanging around underneath.
So we've talked about the road position on Friday and what that might mean. It might mean that Ogier struggles. It might mean that obviously Elvin Evans struggles. But what are we, who needs the result here? Clearly Hyundai
100%.
They're in a bad place, or
Yeah.
they have been in a bad place.
No, they are. They remain in that bad place
Well,
until they turn it around.
correct.
This is it. So Sunday they can perhaps see some light and come out of that bad place. But right now they come in here on the back of 4 events that they've led and not won, and they should have won. You know, Thierry should have won Safari, and if it wasn't Thierry, it should have been Oyk Tanak.
Yeah,
They
potentially.
didn't. So, yeah, it's a difficult one. It should be very different. You know, the suspension issues that we saw were brought about by quite rough rallies.
Yeah.
You know, Sardinia, Safari. We come here, we're not going to see anything like that test of reliability, durability, because the roads are so smooth. So, fingers crossed. You know, there won't be any issues for them.
I think there will be some rough places, though. I think on the second
Yeah, but
place,
not the
not
big
the
impact.
constant.
But what you do get is a lot of the jumps here. The real feature is these built-up jumps, so you fly quite high with the car, and then if you haven't taken off exactly right, you can have quite a heavy impact on landing. So we could see that, and we've seen again. Some of those jumps are coming in over the crest, so the car's at quite a difficult angle. If you're landing on one wheel, you can have quite a lot of stress going through the car.
I have to say, I find it all quite perplexing. You know, Adamo is very particular in what he tells us.
Yeah.
And he's been very clear. You know, I'm not going to give you access to the engineers, but I'll tell you what I want to tell you. Now, all he's told us is that nothing has changed, but clearly something has changed.
But we've spent a long time talking to as many people as we can without telling Mr. Adama that we've spoken to anybody. But we've done a bit of digging. You know, we've spoken to sources in the team. And from what we can understand, the dampers that they used last year on this event are exactly the same as the dampers they're using here this year.
But you know what?
You know, nothing has changed.
Well, there is,
In terms of, you know, it's
something
still
is
sax
stressing. But you
dampers
can
and
put things, you can angle things differently to
Yeah.
get a little bit more performance. You
And-
sacrifice potentially a little bit of rigidity,
And
perhaps.
there's no doubt about it that, you know, we saw great speed from this car, and did that come because they were running the car slightly lower to try and improve the performance? You know, there's lots of different parameters, lots of different ways that you can. You know, in Safari, Thierry talked a lot about running the car a lot higher, which sacrificed some of the aero underneath the car. It makes the car slightly less precise. It's all a big balancing act, isn't
big
it?
balancing
But I
act.
do think that you're right, Cole, that there is always a constant trade-off between performance and reliability. And they've extracted as much performance as they can out of the car, perhaps at the cost of some of the reliability.
Well, I think that trade-off comes in the latter life of homologation, doesn't it?
Yeah,
when
when
you're
you've got-
looking, when you've used up all your jokers,
Yeah.
you can't actually homologate new parts. So what you're looking to do is work with the parts you've got and maybe change, you know, as you say, ride heights, maybe angles, all that sort of thing. And you can find that extra performance, but something is changing to do that. So the other interesting thing that we'll just quickly discuss about Hyundai is the situation with the championships. They need to win something again this year. You know, they need to win something. Now, what can they win? They can win the manufacturers, probably more. It's more likely than the drivers. Do you think we're going to see anything in the way of team orders, or is it just, you know, we want you guys both at the top, no matter which way around?
I've got absolutely no idea at the minute.
Yeah, it's
and you know,
tricky one.
you talk about there's a big gap
tricky.
between from where Tanak is to the front. I can't remember how many. It's a lot of points.
50, 60 points, isn't it?
It is. But, and you kind of think, no chance, he could never get that back. But in 2018, he was I think 77 points behind. And 2 or 3 rallies later, when we'd had all of those issues in Turkey, blah blah blah, he was down to like 11 points. So nothing. You know, we can take nothing as red here.
That's absolutely true.
Everything is open.
Let's move on to Toyota. Let's talk about Toyota. Let's talk about Sebastian Ogier. He's in a great position. Not a great position on the roads, great position in the
epic
championship.
position.
Elvin Evans is the one that needs to find a little more momentum. It's been a bit stuttery, hasn't it? You know, not the last 2%, and the last one was enormously disappointing.
Yeah, no, it was. Elvin needs a result here. He knows he needs a result. The championship, potentially, you could say now, is Ogier's to control, just to actually...
Well, what about the stats you've worked out this morning? You reckon Ogier could win it in, potentially...
the next 3 rounds.
This one, the next one, the one after?
Which would be Acropolis.
Yeah, it would. It would.
Yeah, here to Ypres.
To Acropolis,
Acropolis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be remarkable.
Yeah, because he averaged 22.2 points per round in the first 6 events, whereas Elvin averaged
16 point something.
Yeah, so
he's awfully clever. He's awfully
Really?
clever. He'll look really, really
Obviously.
clever if Ogier does take the championship on the Acropolis, that's for sure. But they're in a good position, aren't they? Toyota are in a really good place right now. They've got a competitive car, they've got a uber reliable car. They've got 2 drivers at the very top who are right now performing, you know, as well as they've performed. They've got Katsuta, they've got Rovanperä, who is just nipping. And Rovanperä, We're getting the signs, David. What does that mean?
I
Does that
think
mean there's a helicopter
that means
around?
you've been talking for too long.
Oh no! It doesn't mean there's a helicopter. Robin Perrott, your favourite for the event?
Totally. You know, we came here last year and he was a favourite, and he understands these roads. He knows how to drive them. He's a young fella that's not afraid of the speed. He's got a great car.
Four bad events in a row. Does that affect him or not? He just
not in the
dismisses all of
slightest.
that.
Completely dismisses all of that. Great position on the road. Yeah, for me, he's the one. Watch Friday night. He will be 26 seconds in the lead.
You said 40 seconds when we were in the car.
Yeah, no, he's lost a little bit on the last stage.
On the last stage, 26 seconds in the lead. There's another prediction from David Evans. He does get some of them right. Some of them right. But if you make enough predictions, eventually one of them will be right.
One of them right.
We've mentioned M Sport. We've mentioned the fact that clearly Sooneran's in a great position. Yeah. He's in a great position on the road. Mentally, he's not in a great position, although he says himself, it's other people are talking about the pressure. I'm not feeling it.
No,
you know.
He's just going to get in the car and drive. And then Greensmith really comes in on the crest of a wave, doesn't he? Fourth in Safari. Yeah. So yeah, let's see what they can do.
Let us see what they can do. Listen, folks, it all kicks off this evening. It's Thursday evening is stage number 1. Saturday, though, for me, could be the defining day. Those two stages, stage 10, stage 11, brand new, very, very different from anything else in the rally. Keep an eye on those. It's going to be a fabulous weekend here in Estonia. Stick with us at DirtFish.com for all the news, all the action, all the excitement as it starts to unfold on the stages.